Roads? Well, we don't need roads.
No. I am your father.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
You're listening to After the Ending, the only film podcast where we tell you what happens after the ending of your favorite films. And now, here are your hosts, Mike Spring and Phil Edwards.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to After the Ending. I'm Mike Spring.
And I'm Phil Edwards.
And we are very excited tonight to have a special guest with us, a returning guest, as a matter of fact, but the first time we've had him here on video. Please give a big After the Ending welcome to Chad Michael Collins. Hello, Chad.
Hey, friends. How are you? It's been a minute.
It has been.
Yeah,
I know there was a little pandemic in the middle there that slowed things down, it seems like. But yeah, we're doing good. How about yourself?
Just bookending the pandemic here. As we
great.
Yeah, I'm great. Got a new movie out today, and all is well in my nerdy world. So happy to be chatting about all the things with you two fine gents.
Appreciate that. That's what we're happy to hear. Very excited to talk about your new movie. Before we get to that, I have to say one thing, Chad. Now, Phil and I have been doing this, on video, live on video for a couple of months now, and I've always felt pretty good about it. And now suddenly we get you on the show, and I'm like, maybe we should stick to just the podcast where people can't see us, because now all of a sudden the stark reality of what Phil and I look like when contrasted to you is suddenly setting in. So.
Well, I commented on it earlier, but I mean, trust me, if anybody watching this is a nerd like me, they're not going to be looking at you guys at all. They're going to be looking at your rad collections of awesome things behind you, the Batman and the X-Men and all the good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. We do have what's that?
Takes the pressure off.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
The thing is, Mike, if I shave this beard off, I look just like Chad. Just like him.
Oh, good. Good. So I'm the only one.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's got nothing to offer in that.
Great hair. What do you mean? We got the same hair, Mike.
Oh, yeah. Sure. But yeah, we all have our collective little, bat caves, nerd rooms, whatever you want to call them, going, which is pretty cool. I see you got some Funko Pops up there. I got a couple of those myself. We all got our little our favorite things, which is always fun. So and we're definitely gonna talk about your fandom, your nerddom a little bit. But before we do that, let's kick off by talking about your new movie, which is out today, called Assailant, which I'm very excited about. Why don't I'll kick off with the easiest question possible for people who don't know the movie at all. Tell them a little bit about what it's about.
Yes, thank you. Assailant dropped today. It's on Redbox and AMC Theaters on demand. I think see some links for Vudu and Amazon and all that other fun stuff to buy it and rent it and everything else too. So Assailant is a really fun suspense thriller movie that I did. A lot of action in it as well with my co-lead Poppy Delevingne, fine British actress. Casper Van Dien, who everybody knows and loves from Starship Troopers and so many other things. Jeff Fahey, who's a fantastic, amazing character actor from The Lawnmower Man, which is one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations growing up. So the movie itself is, it's about a couple whose relationship is on the rocks. They decided to give it one last go back to the place where they kicked things off, where he proposed in the Caribbean. And unfortunately, their drama spills over in a public dinner, and they get quite sassy with each other. Well, I get quite sassy with my better half, and it just happens to fall on the wrong ears. So a psychopath named Michael decides that he's going to stalk us around the entire island, trying to teach me a lesson. And there's a lot of demands for apologies. So anyway, it's fun. It becomes a chase movie where the psychopath stalks us across the movie, and anybody who gets in his way, whoops. And then the couple kind of comes together. They reconnect, and they're trying to survive together, and they're working together and everything else too to try and escape the assailant. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I have to say that I watched the video clip from it today and the trailer for it. And first of all, I love the clip. It was awesome. But this is definitely my kind of movie. I'm a big fan of like survival thrillers and people on the run movies. Like this is right up my alley. So I'm super excited to watch it. I was curious. what you tend to play a lot of very tough characters, Brandon Beckett and characters like that. And so in this movie, you're more of the I'm the guy on the run. Was that kind of a big switch up for you to get used to that?
Yeah, well, let's be clear, Mike and Phil. It's pretend tough guys. All right, I don't claim any actual real toughness in real life. But you're right. It was a bit of a role reversal for me. Usually I'm the one handing out the business. In this movie, I take a lot of the business from mostly Casper Van Dien, who kicks the crap out of me up and down this tiny little island that we were filming on called Nevis. But it was a lot of fun. I really. Stunts on the other end are pretty hard because you're falling a lot. Sometimes those hits land. Casper caught me pretty good with a nice solid kick to the ribs once on a botched take, and that stayed with me, the memory of Casper, for the next 2 weeks. But it was a lot of fun and really, really cool to take this journey as Jason starts out as kind of a d-bag. He's probably the main reason why his relationship is falling apart. So he tries to make good, but he can't help himself with his bad habits. And then he colossally screws up in front of Casper's Michael character. And then, he just eats a lot of punishment. But he does come clean. He does find, he tries to find redemption all the while. So really, really fun role. Definitely not your Alex from Call of Duty type role, your Brandon Beckett from Sniper franchise type role that I'm used to playing. So it was really a fun opportunity to get on the other side of the coin.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, you mentioned Jeff Fahey was in The Lawnmower Man, which I enjoyed watching when that came out. But also Casper Van Dien was in Starship Troopers, Johnny Rico himself. What was it like when you first met him, acting with him? It's Johnny Rico. How were you with that?
Yeah, I've long since stopped fanboying, on sets. Because what you learn as you go is, they're regular guys. These are regular people, and Casper couldn't have been a nicer guy, and I think he's got a reputation that precedes him. Anybody who knows him has worked with him. Very professional, very fun, very friendly, very, very helpful in terms of creating scenes together and whatnot. Jeff is great. He's one of those amazing actors where he doesn't have to do very much, and you're captivated by those baby blues. So Jeff was really fun to watch and to work with as well. He's just got amazing acting instincts, and as an actor that's always looking to work on your craft, get better, to be able to watch those two at work is it's always a privilege to be able to work with veteran actors who have been there and done it for decades. So both of them were a delight.
Now, this movie is I know it's going to Redbox and all these different platforms. Is it and I haven't seen the movie yet. So is it the kind of film there could I don't want to give any spoilers, but is there more story to be told at any point? Do you think there could be a sequel or anything like that, or is it pretty much a standalone story?
There could be. As they say, it's like, unless you see the body.
Right.
And so I don't know. I don't know what the plans are for a sequel. I know that the movie turned out really well, and I hope people really enjoy it. I suppose that a sequel could be in the works or the makings, depending on how well we do here and what the producers have planned down the road. But Tom Payton was our director, a British director, fantastic guy to work with. He's on the up and up. He's done some really, really cool movies. He was awesome. He wrote the script as well, and a wonderful collaborator. So for his sake, Tom's sake, and an excuse to get back together with Poppy, Casper, and Jeff, I hope we do make a sequel somehow, some way, because I love those people, and I love shooting down in Nevis.
And I'm curious, when, I like I said, I watched the trailer. It looks like it's a very tense movie, a lot of suspense, a lot of keeping on the edge of your seat. Is it a different shooting atmosphere, like on the set, when you're trying to maintain this sort of tension in front of the camera? Does that change the vibe of the set? Are you guys still able to sort of just, between takes or, scenes, kick back, relax, have a good time, joke around? Or is it a little more like, serious time?
I didn't come up through the method acting school, highly trained at Juilliard or anything else. I'm just for me, it's not a problem. Between action and cut, we take care of business. But before action and after cut, it's a clown show. I love to keep it light. I love to have fun. Casper's the same way. So is Poppy. It's just to be able to go from a super heightened, dramatic sort of scene to basically just kind of like getting it out of your system and just kind of being your everyday normal fun self is cool. That's my approach. I respect the hell out of your Shia LaBeoufs and your Daniel Day-Lewis's that want to lock themselves in prisons for 30 days and starve themselves for 30 days to get a kill. Like God bless you, man. But that's not for me. I love being on set. I love the people. I love the atmosphere. So I'm just a good timing guy who's just always grateful to be there. So I don't carry that drama within me.
Probably a good thing considering how many times you played a sniper. Probably good for the world that you're not out there method acting that. You know what I mean?
Oh, good God. Yeah, definitely.
No, I don't need any APBs out for me. For that. There's a strange guy in the roof. What's he doing? I'm getting into character.
Exactly.
So what was one of your favorite moments in making the film, and either while you were filming a scene or rehearsing or what have you? What's a standout moment?
Yeah, good question. I as I mentioned earlier, we filmed in a little island in the Caribbean called Nevis, which is kind of a sister island to St. Kitts at the bottom of the Caribbean. I had never heard of the place, but what a little jewel. It's really amazing. There's old sugar plantations, and there's a volcano just in the center of the island. It's like 12,000 people. It was just an incredible backdrop, little rainforests and everything. Obviously, the ocean 360, which was incredible. We got to film a lot of stuff on a very fancy boat and on the water as well, which is very tricky to shoot on, by the way, with the wind and everything and the noise. But I loved the atmosphere. I loved just being able to go and film in this tropical setting. That was a fantastic place to be, and wonderful people there, obviously, as well. The locals on the island, which we incorporated a lot into our crew, and some of the actors we hired were local, which is really fun to have that experience with them. But I just, working with Casper was fantastic. Just such a nice guy. I had met him, in LA at parties and events, and we just, your circle gets smaller the more work you do in this industry. So to be able to actually mix it up with him, and he was such a great scene partner, and such a awesome dance partner with the old fisticuffs. That was fun sussing that stuff out with him with the help of Spencer Collins, our stunt coordinator. The Poppy was lovely too. If you look up Poppy Delevingne online, she's beautiful former model. Really, really, really going to galas and wearing designer gowns and stuff, and you just won't recognize her in this movie. These movies are hard, and the sweat is real, and the cuts are real, and the bruises are real, and you're going 16, 17 straight days. And she was a gamer, and she was tough as nails, and just threw herself into it, which was a pleasure to see, because it's movies like this can break people by day 3. And she was, just absolutely rolled up her sleeves and got the job done. So working with all of them, and Tom and everybody else down there we had a blast. It was a tough shoot, but we really had a blast. So we're happy it's finally out. People can enjoy it.
That's great. And how long were you guys down there for? How long did you shoot for down there?
That was the second of 2 movies I was fortunate to do down there. The production company, MSR Media. Shout out to Philip Martinez, who brought me down there. We did a rom-com first, and then we went into Assailant right after that. So I was there for about 4 months.
Wow.
And look, coming off of 2020, where I was never leaving my apartment, to then being in the Caribbean for 4 months, beachfront, hotel at the Four Seasons of all places. Just absolutely incredible experience to be brought down there and to be able to do back-to-back films and kind of scratch that itch after a very, 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 very unemployment heavy 2020. So I was very, very grateful for that. And I love the place, and I hope to get to go back.
Very cool. This is a good time for us to mention, by the way, for anybody who is watching, if you guys want to add any comments or questions to the whatever platform you're watching on, we will pass them on to Chad and ask the questions. We did get a comment. I just wanted to throw it up here for you, Chad. Obviously, we have a fan watching from Kevin H. He says, the heir to the Behringer throne. Obviously, that a reference to your sniper movies. So that's a pretty good throne, I think, to be the heir to. Speaking of, Thanks, Kevin. Speaking of, is there that's been a very popular franchise for you. The Sniper films obviously have been great. I've reviewed every one of them. You know, I'm a big fan. Any word on a next entry? I know they've been big hits. I know the last one made a big splash on Netflix. Do we know anything more about more Brandon Beckett adventures?
Yeah, you can't really ever say. It's Sony's franchise, and they like to be able to drop the news when they want to drop it. But stay tuned. I'll say that much. Stay tuned.
All right.
Hopefully, we have something to talk about, down the road here. But other than that, it's kind of the NDA lifestyle, baby. But it's I love the Sniper franchise, and as you say, those who are not familiar with it, it's a military action franchise from Sony. Tom Berenger with Billy Zane, original stars in the original film. Tom, Marine Sniper, this, that, whatever, did 3 films. I came back in a reboot of the franchise to play his son, Brandon Beckett. And that started in 2010, Sniper Reloaded. And we've made a bunch. And, hopefully, knock on wood, we keep making more. But just a lot of fun to be able to do those movies and to play that hero role, which is the opposite kind of what I'm doing in the Assailant movie. So, it's been very good for me, and I hope we keep doing more. And we're trying to overtake Fast and the Furious, but I don't know that it's ever going to happen. We got to go.
They keep getting them out, don't they? Yeah. Hey, well, you mentioned you've got a rom-com film as well. You made, and there was something on Deadline about you've got a film with Michael J. White, Dead Zone. So, what can you tell us anything about that, or any other projects you've got coming up?
Yeah, those 2 projects, there hasn't been a lot of information released, but the rom-com I did was called 1 Year Off with a wonderful British actress named Natalie Cox was the lead in that. She killed it. And Jeff Fahey was in that as well in a lead role. So that was the first time I got to work with Jeff. Hopefully we have some more information on when that comes out. It was a lot of fun to shoot. I had my pandemic hair. My Patrick Swayze pandemic hair in full bloom. So that's actually captured on film before I cut it off for Assailant. That hopefully that'll come out this year. I don't know. When I know, I'll put it out there for sure, because it was a fun one to do. The other movie that you're referencing is called Dead Zone, which I shot last summer with Michael J. White and Jeff Fahey. I did 3 movies with Jeff Fahey back to back for the first half of 2021, which is amazing. I never worked with him before, and then I just 1, 2, 3. I didn't know he was cast in the Dead Zone movie, and so when I found out that he was on set, I'm like, we just can't get rid of each other. We're just what's happening here?
That's awesome.
That's fun. It's a military action horror movie. It's going to be really, really cool. Very, very fun. Kind of getting back to those sniper roots and the Call of Duty roots, the soldier type stuff. Going in. Not much information has been released, but Deadline posted a first look photo in our cool armor and everything. But it's basically, there's dead zones around the U.S. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic deal with mutated, irradiated zombies. There's a vaccine that's swept through the world and is killing the human population. So we're an elite force that goes in stealth mode, drops into this bombed out former city to try and extract a prototype vaccine and hopefully save humanity. But you can imagine we meet some creepy crawlies along the way. So, fight your way in, blast your way out type of thing. So I'm looking forward to more information on that because it was a really fun one to do.
Sounds like it's right up our alley. We do love that kind of movie for sure. So you mentioned also, I don't know, Phil, do you want to ask the Call of Duty question? I know you're more of a video gamer than I am, but I don't know if you want me to just take it or if you want to take it.
No, you go ahead. It's I've been getting stuck into Elden Ring at the minute, so I'm out of Call of Duty at the minute. It's a different one, so I need to get back into that. But Elden Ring's been the one taking all my time. Let's see what's going on with Call of Duty though.
What's going on with Call of Duty?
Let's start with I don't know if there's something moving forward if you want to talk about it. Let's talk a little bit about your experience. That was a big thing. I know it was a big experience. It was very popular, very successful. I know you were very involved in it in terms of getting the word out there and doing it. To tell us a little bit about the experience of playing this character in Call of Duty and sort of how that went, because I think the video game acting world is probably a little bit different in certain ways than the on-camera acting world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so those that don't know, I starred as a lead character in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, which is a reboot of a very popular trilogy of Call of Duty games, Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, back in the day. So we kind of we did a soft reboot of that game with Infinity Ward, Activision, obviously. I played one of the lead characters in that called Alex, Echo 3-1. And, my character's still alive and well in the... how do I work this with Zoom? Is it this side? No, it's this side. Hold on, let me get my head out of the way. So they kind of, after the launch of our game, they spun out Warzone, which is basically kind of a huge battle royale type thing like Fortnite and all these other games and stuff like that. So you drop into maps and you pick your favorite operator. Many featured on this poster here, Ghost and Captain Price and Alex himself. So my character's still alive and well in the Call of Duty universe. They put my character into Call of Duty Mobile, which is an extremely popular game worldwide, which is really fun. So there's Alex running around in your smartphones as well now for those Call of Duty Mobile players. So it was an amazing experience. You're just not prepared for how big this franchise is. I remember when the game was coming out, fall of 2019, they were like, well, just be ready, you're going to see your stuff everywhere. I'm like, no, come on. I'm telling you, like commercials during football Sunday, like LA bus wraps and billboards and what. I'm like, that's, oh my God, like they're not kidding. We were everywhere and it was really fun. The game is so big, it's so massive, it's so popular. So it was really fun to play a lead character in one of their games a couple years ago and to still have see my character running around on the battlefield, even to this day. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a huge franchise. But so did you for the initial game? Were you doing lots of motion capture then for the initial game, and for the video game on the phone? Is that just more? Well, where's it going? Is that just more or just voice acting on the video game on the phone?
Yeah, you're right, Phil. That's basically how it went down. I did on and off for like a year and a half. Going to a sound stage and doing full motion capture, face capture, performance capture. Obviously, the voice is mine as well, but the likeness is totally mine. Except, they added a really sweet digital mustache to my face. I really appreciate growing up like a Tom Selleck fan. So, that's how that process went. And then when they put me in the Call of Duty mobile game, I went into the recording studio and did most of that stuff voiceover wise. So it was really cool. It's just, what's amazing is just, watching the fans share the mobile game. There's like 500 million players worldwide on this, which is just absolutely insane. The graphics on a smartphone game, I mean, they're like 1,000 times better than like Super Nintendo and like Nintendo. And it just blows my mind that you can have that kind of like gaming quality on a phone at this point. As an old school gamer who grew up in the 80s with video games, it just blows your mind how real, how lifelike these games can be, even just off of your phone. And the Call of Duty games themselves are just rendered so beautifully. I mean, it's just, if you play through our Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I mean, it plays like a movie you're watching in a theater. Like, it's so gritty, it's so real. The lighting, and they spared no expense. Like Blur Studios got in there, and they do Marvel films in terms of everything. So it was really, really, really cool to be a part of it. And hopefully we'll be back again one day. Who knows?
That sounds good. I take a quick pause, Chad. I'm getting a little bit of a distortion on your voice. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it, but I don't know if you have maybe you can try turning your volume down a touch or something. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. It kind of sounds like a digital delay, so I'm not sure if there's anything that we can do about it. But if anybody's listening and they're hearing a little bit of distortion, we do apologize.
Yeah, we must point out as well that we are all over the world. Based in the UK, Mike's on the East Coast and Chad's on the West Coast, so this might be your most globe-spanning interview ever, Chad, in terms of at one time, right? Because we've got England, California, and New York all on at the same time. I don't know how many other interviews you've done like that.
We're only missing Japan.
Yeah, right. Got to get the other corner of the. So I know we've talked about we mentioned a little bit in the beginning how we're all big geeks, right? We all have our fandoms and stuff like that. So I do want to talk a little bit about your upcoming project, and I know that Phil's very excited about this as well. So I don't know how much you can say yet because I know it's not officially happened. I know you've announced it, but you have a Dungeons and Dragons themed Twitch live stream in the works. It's going to be coming out relatively soon. Is that correct?
That is correct, and we're making some moves on that front. So just trying to put a little bit out there into the world as we kind of shore up our own details. But yeah, I stream on Twitch as often as I can. Usually playing with fans and friends all around the world, playing Call of Duty Warzone, which has been such a blast. I started that during the pandemic, and I still try to keep up with it today. So I have such a love for D&D, and Phil, you feel me?
I totally feel you. Yeah.
I play in games every week. I run my own game, and I've gotten so many hundreds of hours in since the pandemic that I'm making up for lost time of my childhood of not being able to play, because as me and you talked about, Mike, you need people to play. Yeah. That's a hard thing to do in the digital age. Not so hard anymore. You can get on your computer. In fact, all the games I play except for one are digital. Which is just an amazing way to keep your schedules aligned and to get the games going. But we're going to stream a D&D campaign. And I partnered up with a guy named Jake Inunza, an actor, former pro wrestler, who is going to be our dungeon master. And he's going to run this. It's a complete homebrew, meaning for the lay person, a homebrew means it's an adventure of his own creation. It's not one of the official modules or source books or anything like that. And he's setting it in kind of the border kingdoms, which is like a fantasy Wild West type of like Kingdoms Rise, Kingdoms Falls. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? So it's, if you think of the Cantina in Star Wars, it's a rogues gallery, and like who's good, who's legit, who's out to get me? Is there a bounty? It's kind of one of those type things that he's spinning up. So we've got a great cast that we tried to keep. We try to keep a lot of actors, in the space, so that we could put on more of a really fun, immersive performance for people who tune in. Lindsay Rousseau, who's a talented voiceover, motion capture, all-around actress, voicing Transformers, things like this. Andy Norris is a super talented motion capture actress. Mylan Moon is an actress and a cosplayer. We're really, it's us four as players, and Jake is kind of our captain of the ship. So we're hoping to launch that late April, and it's called The Die Is Cast Gaming, and that's our handle on Twitch, and we've got socials up and everything else to kind of keep teasing the players, teasing the artwork, teasing some of the world as we ramp up to it.
Well, it sounds fantastic. I've been a dungeon master now for my group since 2016, meeting up every Wednesday, playing then. So it is a fantastic game, and I recommend anybody should play it. But what can you tell us anything about your character? I know you're teasing things, but can you tell us what class you're going to be playing? Or
oh, sure, I'd love to. But question for you, Phil: What campaign are you running?
Currently going through Storm King's Thunder. We started off with Lost Mines of Phandelver, and then I went into Storm King's Thunder, and I've been doing lots of other things in around it and things like that. But we're getting to the end of it, I think. But who knows? Depends what happens.
Yeah. Poor Mike is lost. He's like,
no.
Talk about the NFL.
No. Look, here's how I always describe myself. I am what I like to call D&D adjacent, right?
Yes.
I'm familiar with it. I know how it works. I've heard the names. I've looked at the books. I love the artwork. Like I get D&D and I like it. I just don't have an opportunity to play it. So my knowledge ends at a certain point, but I'm not like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I definitely have a familiarity with D&D. So, and listen, I'll be watching your Twitch stream, so I'll learn more about it as we go. And, then I'll be able to keep up with the conversations.
Yes. And that's what we want to do. We want to make it entertaining. If you've got no experience as a player, come in and watch, some actors and performers kind of put on an immersive show, an adventure, and join us there. People who do play D&D will be able to kind of get introduced to a whole new setting and see some really fun stuff on display that's completely original. But to answer your question, Phil, I'm going to play a paladin.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the paladin is my probably all-time favorite class in any game I've ever played, which for those who don't know, it's a holy knight. So it's basically that classic, gleaming armor, sword and shield type of character that also can kind of call upon, some divine power from his god every once in a while. So very handy, lots of utility, the classic sword and board protector, to the party, the front line of defense, and the first into the fray. So that's who I'm looking to play.
Oh, excellent. And it's also good in like the social situations as well. Good for role playing. Really
Yes.
good character.
Very
Do like a paladin, yeah.
paladins.
Yeah.
Now, so that sounds like the kind of character that I would type the type of character I would like to play if I did. I tend to be very lawful good in the way I tend to, like, when I write characters, or when I, the characters I gravitate towards. So it sounds like the paladin is kind of along those lines, maybe, or could be anyway. Not yours necessarily, but it seems like maybe they lend themselves to the lawful good kind of.
It's that typically is. I mean, there's certainly the evil versions of paladins if you want to go that route, but yeah, it's the good guy. It's the classic archetype of the knight.
Right.
I'm a knight nerd. Between all the historical fiction I read and my favorite fantasy characters, they all come back to the same thing for me. I'm very vanilla. I'm very basic, as the kids say. I'm a basic bee. So anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I've played a paladin a lot, in some D&D campaigns, and the thing about the paladin is like they survive really well.
So they have lots of buffs
they
and
don't
things.
have to be the flashiest, the sexiest character on the board, but they stay alive quite well, which is a very underrated quality in any sort of gaming experience.
Well, I'm a forever DM. I've yet to. I keep hoping one of my friends will say, "Hey, I'll DM this thing." But are you a dungeon master as well as a player?
I am. Yes, I've run similar to you. I ran the first campaign I ever ran was just before the pandemic started, and I was doing it in person. It was Lost Mines of Phandelver, which you can buy at Target. And then I went and ran the other kind of starter set beginners thing, Dragon of Icefire Peak. And I started running, various, one-shot mini adventures and stuff like this. I'm currently still doing my Curse of Strahd campaign, which is a gothic horror.
I've not played that yet.
One of the best D&D campaigns they've ever put out there. So we're having a blast with that. But I played in so many campaigns, and I'm playing in Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is absolutely insane every week, as well as Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is pretty cool. It's like a winter setting, gothic, kind of like a horror in winter setting. So the Icewind Dale region, if you're familiar with like the D&D novels that I grew up with and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. You just get connected to so many wonderful people. And to be able to do it online, through these apps and programs now, the Roll20, Foundry, etc. It's fantastic, and it's a great way to keep people connected. And it's just the friendships you form, when you take 6 months and go on this fictional adventure with people. It's unbelievable, because for the next 5 years, you'll talk about that crazy time, that dragon almost bit your face off and destroy the town you're meant to protect. It's just really fun, man. I love it. I'm excited to bring it to an audience worldwide.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, it's such a good community, and it is good having another live play thing out there, because they're just always so much fun to watch, and they bring more people into the game.
Do you have a schedule, a schedule in mind? Are you guys gonna be doing weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, daily? What do you know what you're doing, how you're doing it yet in terms of that?
Yeah, that's all a little to be determined, but I think we're gonna have some kind of a mini adventure that might be 3 to 5, type of sessions, streams, if you will, and probably do kind of a once a week thing. But I think our Captain Jake is ready to really roll this out into a long form thing. So we're going to dip our toe in the water and see how people respond. And a lot of people are excited to come watch and even just learn more about it. And I'm trying to take some more time to do some Twitch streams to teach people about D&D, so they have more of a primer, so they can kind of come up and hit the ground running, instead of just seeing a bunch of dice flying around and, trying to make sense of what the hell a saving throw is. So, so we'll be doing some D&D 101 stuff, leading up to, so people can choose to tune in or not and learn more about it.
Very cool.
What's your dice collection like? Is it getting out of control, or are you just managing to, stop buying more dice?
Yeah, I certainly got some pretty rad dice that I love. But 95% of my experience has been online and digital. So I don't need to get absolutely bonkers like some people get, because Phil will tell you it's once you start, you don't stop. It's like dice, or it's like dice crack. You just kind of accumulating more, and you're like, dude, you would never need that many, in any situation. But people are superstitious about their, dice. If they go to the casino, I just know if you get a bad roll of the die, I've seen players put their dice on timeouts, you know, in the dunce's corner, you know, and look what you've done. Think about it. So it's you know, people are very particular with their dice. So, you know, the more to choose from, the better, I suppose.
Yeah, I think Phil knows a thing or two about having a little bit of a dice obsession. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. New York Comic Con, the dice.
yeah, I was gonna say, I remember
yeah.
being with you, Phil, and you were like, you know, I mean, he purchased a few, but then there's also some of these. They were like, oh, well, we have these dice made out of metal and marble, and they're like $100 a pair, you know, for a set of 6 or whatever. It was like, oh my goodness.
I think there was some made out of a meteorite for $300.
Right.
Which I went, oh, they're nice, but no.
Yeah.
But you never know when you might need them. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, Mike's a good friend to have. You know, dice intervention. You know, he doesn't. He's looking out for
Right.
it, Phil.
That's
He doesn't want this problem to get worse. So.
Exactly.
Very true. Very
exactly. True. I'll do it live on the air. I'll be like, Phil, we're having this conversation because we care about you. So Chad, I want to ask you about one other thing real quick before we get to some of our goofy, silly questions we save for the end. But you've been doing some audiobook recording lately, and I know that a really high profile one that you narrated was The Power of the Dog, which of course is also an Oscar nominated film. You know, I've worked in the audiobook world myself as a former voiceover producer and a voice actor. I've produced a bunch of them. I've narrated a couple of them. It's grueling work, and it's very different from other kinds of acting. So I'm just curious, and that's a book that I imagine is also very intense. So what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, you're not wrong. That was the first audiobook I ever did. And it is a totally different process. You know, I'm a voracious reader. I read all the time. I read every day, every night. I just get through them books because I've always grown up a book nerd. So it was a really exciting thing for me to be able to, you know, basically narrate a book and in general, because I love spreading the joy of books. Maybe I'm real old school like that, man. So it was a really fun experience. It's very hard. You know, the book was written in the 60s, but it was set in like the 1920s, like Montana. So it had a very particular style, tone, you know, the language, the writing. A lot of it felt like Hemingway, where I was like, yo, Hemingway, use some punctuation, please. I can't breathe. So it's a very, very different animal. But yeah, not pun intended. Power of the Dog. That's an animal. They adapted the book from into a film. Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, I think they're all nominated for like best actor, actress, you know, supporting lead, this, that, whatever else. So it's doing really well, and which is really cool because I think that has driven people to go and read and listen to the book. So it's you know, still working a lot of like top 10 lists and stuff like that. But let me tell you. You know, go hug an audiobook narrator next time you see one, because that is tough work. I know some people literally make a living doing 20 to 30 to 40 books a year, and that to me is, I don't know how you do that. It is very tedious, very, very, very particular process, and I love it. So far, I've done one a year the past 2 years, so I'm kind of very comfortable with that pace. I don't know that my brain can handle much more.
Yeah, they are a lot of work for sure. So we got a couple of kind of we saved some of our silly stuff for the end. We got a little lightning round we're going to take you through, and then Phil has his kind of final question. But before we get to that, real quickly, is there any other stuff that you've got coming out you want people to know about? Any other projects you wanna put out there? Or anything that you wanted to to pimp out or promote or talk about or share your geek love for, anything like that?
You know, you covered it, man. I don't know that I have anything else going on in my entire life that you guys didn't cover. But yeah, Assailant dropped today. It's out on Redbox for people who like the old school media. I know there's a Redbox app as well. You can pick it up at AMC theaters on demand, online. I think Amazon, Vudu, and stuff like this. So go check it out. Have fun. It's a role you've never seen Casper Van Dien play ever before as our really great antagonist. So, but yeah, come join me on Twitch. We'll play some Call of Duty, and come watch us play some D&D down the road here.
All right, that
Excellent.
sounds good.
Excellent.
All right, so we're gonna do our little lightning round. These are basically either like yes or no questions or either or questions. We're just gonna throw them at you real quick, and then we'll start to wrap things up. So I guess I will start. So Xbox or PlayStation?
PC? I do own an Xbox.
Okay.
It's covered in dust.
Okay. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Oh my gosh. I have friends on both sides. But I do like Star Wars because it's more fantasy.
Sounds good.
Good answer.
Tacos, great food or the best food?
Great food. Steak is the best.
Wrong answer,
Okay.
but that's okay. We'll let it slide.
Cleric or wizard?
Cleric. I like to be helpful.
All right. Beatles or Stones?
Stones.
Okay. I'll let that one slide, but
Listen,
you're losing me,
your
Chad.
disappointment, Mike. Come on.
No, I'll try.
Do a better job. Poker face me.
Pineapple on pizza, good or bad?
Good. I grew up on that nonsense. I loved it.
Nice.
Our Venn diagrams are just becoming 2 circles on a piece of paper. Chad. No interlap at all.
I don't even know you anymore, Mike.
How about Marvel or DC?
Gotta go Marvel. Love DC, but gotta go Marvel. That was my bread and butter growing up.
Okay. Aliens or Predator?
I just think Predator is so much cooler.
Excellent. I now want to see a Predator versus Sniper film.
There you go.
That'd be
That would
good.
be awesome.
Yeah.
You got to pitch that to the
That'd be
studio,
fun.
Chad.
That'd be fun.
All right. NFL football or college football?
NFL football. You know me, Mike. You
All
know
right.
me.
I do, but I don't know. You could be a closet college fan too. A lot of guys go either one. So, but I'm with you on that one. So, say our Venn diagrams move a little closer back together now.
Yeah, good.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I'm sorry?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Yes. I haven't had a hot dog in probably 10 years, so
Not on the sniper approved diet. All right, 90s music or 80s music?
90s alternative grunge.
There you go. All right.
Go.
Now we're
Okay.
back together there. All
Okay,
right, last one, Phil.
This is the tough one. Dungeons or Dragons?
Ooh. Man, oh man. I gotta go dragons. There's nothing more exciting than a dragon fight, Phil. You know me.
Yeah, they're good though. They're
Yeah.
good. Okay, and the one final question is, what are your final words if killed by a classic movie monster, and which monster would it be?
Oh my lord. What a great question. Okay. A classic movie monster. Let's just go with werewolf.
Okay.
And let's go with assuming that they tore me to shreds. I would probably make a comment about your breath smells like you licked your own hindquarters.
Brilliant.
That's fantastic.
That'll teach them.
That's right. That's right.
You've shown.
That's awesome. All right. Great. Well, thank you for playing along, Chad. Appreciate that. We always have a little fun at the end after we talk about all the important stuff. We like to get a little goofy. So, all right. Well, Chad, Michael Collins, you have been our first 3-time repeat guest. Very excited to have you again, as always, and to have you on video for the first time. So that's exciting. If you're listening to this on podcast form, you should track down our videos because we've got them now. You can see Chad in person, which is always a good thing. But thank you, as always, for taking the time to talk to us. We're always happy to have you on, and hopefully you'll come back again sometime in the future.
Honored to do the 3-peat. Thank you both. Mike, congratulations on your comic. I received your first batch, and I'm going to receive your next batch soon.
Yep,
I
they'll be
love
coming
it.
soon.
Great. Phil, don't kill your players.
I keep trying. They keep
Friendships.
living. They keep living.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys so much. It's so fun to chat with you again, and hopefully we do it again soon.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Chad. And that's going to be it for our episode. So as always, we thank everybody for watching and or listening. I'm Mike Spring.
And I'm Phil Edwards.
And we'll see you next time.
After the ending.